Welcome to Fantasia, home of the Melodias. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys another post-duel commentary. Now this time, we are gonna be playing with my Dark Lunalight deck. So just taking a look at this opening hand right now, it isn't really the best thing because we did draw into Blackwing Zephyros the Elite, but it is very much workable because of the fact we have Fire Formation Tenki, Allure of Darkness, and Upstart Goblin. So we have a lot of searching and drawing capabilities in our hand that can potentially lead to some pretty good plays. Of course, if I do play the Allure of Darkness, the only dark monster in my hand that I can banish is going to be Zephyros, so that's something to keep in mind. So my opponent is actually playing with the Elementsaber deck. He goes for reinforcements in the army, he searches out the Fire Elementsaber, and then he goes ahead and activates Willard in the hand, and then he discards the Fire one he just searched, and the Earth one. So that gives his monsters two, I believe, two abilities. One is that they cannot be destroyed by card effects, and the other is that they cannot be destroyed by battle. So the Willard is going to be sitting there. I don't really have an out to something that can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, to be honest, because of the fact that I don't run things like Castell in the extra deck, which, you know, might come in handy, but the extra deck space is very tight. I go ahead, and first thing I do is I activate Fire Formation Tenki, because my first thought in the head is, oh, well, you know, I can search out a Lunalight monster and then activate Allure of Darkness, and then potentially just banish that Lunalight monster. But instead, I get Ash Blossom, so Tenki does not go through, I do not get the search, and I'm forced to go for the Allure of Darkness. This is a reason why I really don't like Allure, but it's only a one copy in the deck, so it's completely fine. I have to banish the Zephyros in my hand because I need the Kaleido Chick. If I kept the Zephyros, I would have no other play but to just set Zephyros and basically pass, which wouldn't really be too great. So I opt to go for the Kaleido Chick, normal summon it, send the Crimson Fox, pretty standard stuff, just, you know, getting that targeting protection into the graveyard just in case something happens down the line. Go for the Lunalight Tiger in the Pendulum Scale, try to bring back the Lunalight Crimson Fox, but then my opponent also had the Ghost Ogre, so the Ghost Ogre, of course, doesn't really matter at all because Lunalight Tiger can easily trigger, again, based off her monster effect, instead of her pendulum effect, bringing back the Crimson Fox anyway. Now, the only bad thing is that I do not have Lunalight Tiger in the Pendulum Scale for, like, subsequent turns and whatnot, so I can't necessarily, continuously bring back, like, Kaleido Chick and thin my deck and all that good stuff. That's the only downside to it, really. Like, Zephyros is already banished, so I don't really have to have Tiger up for it to bounce. And even if Zephyros, you know, was in the graveyard, I still have Tenki that I can bounce with the Zephyros, and Tenki can search for a Tiger, so it really didn't matter. At this point, you know, I could have gone for a rank 4, I could have gone for, like, Baguska, but that would have been just a little bit too passive, because he only has the Willard in hand. I feel very much safe, because, you know, Ghost Ogre in hand, I have the Soul Charge for recovery. I decided to just go for the Polymerization, fuse my Kaleido Chick and Crimson Fox, go ahead and summon my Lunalight Cat Dancer from my extra deck. And of course, when Lunalight Crimson Fox is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, I can target one monster my opponent controls and change his attack to 0. So I just changed Willard to 0, attack into it with my Cat Dancer. Wasn't, of course, expecting it for it to be destroyed because of its protection effects. But I deal a good amount of damage to him, of course. I've played the Upstart Goblin and all that good stuff, so just wanted to whittle down his life points so it'd be easier for me to take him down later. So I still have a lot of backup cards. I have, you know, Ghost Ogre in hand. I can potentially destroy his Field Spell. Field Spells are very important for the Elementsaber archetype, so knowing that, I'm just going to hold on to that Ghost Ogre until I see it. And of course, on my next turn, I have easy access to Soul Charge for more monsters. I can go for Polymerization, make Panther Dancer. It's way bigger than the Willard. I can start attacking into it, unless, of course, right here where he puts it into defense position. So I can't really do too much with it in defense position. I need to get piercing damage, and luckily for the Lunalight archetype, Lunalight Wolf's monster effect allows me to get piercing damage. Now the problem is, I have to get access to the Lunalight Wolf, not in the Pendulum Scale, that's going to be pretty easy, but I have to get it on the field. So because I don't have Lunalight Perfume, and I don't really have a way to get my Lunalight Wolf to the graveyard as of right now, it's going to be pretty difficult. So I know I do have the Soul Charge, I know I have that kind of stuff, but right now the important thing is to set up a decent field so I can go ahead and make sure that I do not lose, because if he gets more combo pieces you know, as the turns go by, because he's just sitting on Willard, it's going to be worse for me. So I need to set up a decent field that he cannot easily overcome. So I go ahead, Armageddon Knight, send the Summoner Monk. Now, Armageddon sending Summoner Monk is fantastic because in this deck you have Soul Charge and Monster Reborn. So Soul Charge and Monster Reborn can just bring back the Summoner Monk, and Summoner Monk being one of the key combo pieces in the deck. This is one of the quote-unquote ways to search it. And this is like a really roundabout way of getting it into play and all that good stuff, but it is pretty effective, I have to admit. So what I have is Soul Charge for 3 monsters, Summoner Monk, the Kaleido Chick, and the Crimson Fox. Crimson Fox and Kaleido Chick, of course, are there as bodies for like link summons and stuff. Crimson Fox especially, and Kaleido Chick can just thin my deck out, especially with the Lunalight Wolf. As you can see, I just sent it to the graveyard. I knew I had to get access to her eventually. You know, Lunalight Leo Dancer won't do too much here because the fact that Willard can't destroy my card effects, but you know what, it's all good. Summoner Monk goes ahead, discards the Polymerization, and summons the Summoner Monk, or not the Summoner Monk, the Armageddon Knight from the deck. And Armageddon Knight, sending Kaleido Chick to the graveyard, allows me to add that Polymerization from my graveyard back to my hand. So that is really like the standard combo for this deck, Summoner Monk, Polymerization, and any form of revival, really. And the form of revival that I'm getting in this case is just going to be the Lunalight Perfume. I'm sending it to the graveyard with my Curious because, you know, Zephyros is already out of my deck, so it's like the next best thing to send because I can just pitch anything in my hand and go for a search. I use Summoner Monk, Armageddon Knight, and I believe the Cat Dancer for material for the Curious. Now I'm overlaying the Kaleido Chick and the Crimson Fox for the Tiger King, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King. And Tiger King is really important because I can get that Tenki. I didn't use Tenki this turn, so I can go ahead and search. And I'm getting the all-important Lunalight Tiger back to my hand. And Lunalight Tiger is going to allow me to go ahead and start reviving my monsters in the graveyard. Allows me to put more bodies into the graveyard because Kaleido Chick, of course, can help thin my deck. It can set up for a lot of really neat plays. In this case, I'm going to use Kaleido Chick's effect, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to, send the White Rabbit to the graveyard, because White Rabbit is one of the best cards to send to the graveyard if you already have a Curious on field. And the reason why is when Curious dies, or just leaves the field by your opponent's card effect, you can just add one card in your graveyard back to your hand. Of course, if you have Monster Reborn, it's fantastic, because you can just reborn the Curious. If Curious dies, you have the Monster Reborn back. It's that, like, infinite loop. But in this case, Lunalight White Rabbit is fantastic because of the fact that I have Polymerization in hand. So I can always normal summon the White Rabbit, special summon something back from my graveyard, preferably like a Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick can send a Lunalight Cat Dancer from my extra deck to the graveyard, copying its name, and then I can just Polymerization fuse into Leo Dancer, or not Leo Dancer, sorry, excuse me, Panther Dancer. So I can easily make a Panther Dancer with that play, and that's one of the reasons why I just have the White Rabbit set up in the graveyard right now. Sending your 1-ofs to the graveyard is actually really good with the Kaleido Chick because, you know, it prevents you from banishing it with desires. It also makes it very easily accessible for you to get those monsters. Like, let's say, for instance, you want Blue Cat, you want whatever. You can just, you know, get access to your Lunalight Black Sheep. You can discard Black Sheep and add whatever monster is in your graveyard back to your hand that you want. So going back to this duel, my opponent manages to draw into the field spell, or more accurately, he draws the set rotation, he gives me the Dragon Ravine, and he gets a field spell of his own, and then he tries to activate it, and like I said, field spell is very important for the Elementsabers because it allows them to basically pay their cost by sending Elementsabers from their deck to the graveyard instead of having to discard them from their hand, so that's fantastic for them. So what I do here is I end up Ghost Ogring it, get rid of it, so there's really no way for him to generate advantage at this point, which is fantastic. Come my turn, I of course detach Kaleido Chick from Baguska. It's very important for me to do that, just so I have access to it in the graveyard, because now Tiger can just bring it back. I activate Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King right here, because even though, you know, Baguska is negating it, it's fine. The reason being, I want to get Crimson Fox back into the graveyard. Getting that Crimson Fox to the graveyard, especially if she's an XYZ material, you just kind of don't want her under like another monster. You want to get her back into the graveyard where she can start protecting your monsters, just in case, you know, you go for your fusion play or whatever and your opponent has something to play around it, you know, Effect Veiler or something of that sort. You just want to have access to that negation. So here, I end up bringing back the Lunalight Kaleido Chick, and I think I did it a little too early. What I should have done was I should have banished the Lunalight Perfume from my graveyard, discarding the Lunalight Blue Cat, and then going for the Black Sheep here. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to actually bring back the Lunalight Wolf from my graveyard back to my hand. As I said, it's very simple. As long as you have one search card, you know, Tenki, you can have Perfume, you can even just draw into a copy of Black Sheep itself. That's why Kaleido Chick is fantastic for the deck. People think that Kaleido Chick's really good because of the fact that it enables the OTKs, it sets up for all your fusion plays, but really, she helps you set up a lot of your quote-unquote indirect searching power as well. And if you have access to Black Sheep, Kaleido Chick are just fantastic because they work so well together. And you just saw the reason why I got access back to my Lunalight Wolf. Okay, so Lunalight Wolf is in hand, and my thought process at this moment is the only way I can win this duel to break this like kind of gridlock that's going on is I have to get Lunalight Wolf onto the field, and I have to have her on the field because of the fact that her monster effect allows my Lunalight monsters to deal piercing damage. Now at this point, I can't really do anything. Because the fact that I like kind of sort of misplayed earlier is not really too big of a deal. It's not gonna like change the course of this duel or anything, but what I should have done was discard the blue cat with my Perfume, and then use my Lunalight Tiger's effect to go ahead and bring back the blue cat. Then during the end phase, I could summon another Lunalight monster to my side of the field, and that would have been great because then that would have allowed me to go ahead and have more monsters on the field, so I can go for that polymerization play, so I can go for that fusion summon and potentially, you know, kill my opponent just like a turn earlier. So I go ahead, and this turn I correct my mistake of what I did wrong last time, and I go ahead and use my Lunalight Tiger, bring back the Lunalight Blue Cat. Blue Cat, you know, gets destroyed, summons a Black Sheep from my deck, and, you know, completely fine. I have that Dead Pod Desires in my hand, but, you know, whatever. At this point in the duel, I have so much resources in the graveyard that it really doesn't matter, and I have all the things that I need that are in my hand. Now here, perfect top deck. All I needed was basically access to another Lunalight monster, and even if I didn't, this turn my Lunalight Tiger in my Pendulum Scale currently can just go ahead and use its effect to bring something back from the graveyard, right? So it wasn't too big of a deal. So my opponent, during his turn, he summoned the Dark Elementsaber, and Dark Elementsaber is like a Book of Moon kind of thing, so it's like a Raijin, but like a main deck monster instead of being like an extra deck monster, and it's pretty good. So what I do before I do anything else is I activate the Brotherhood of the Firefist Tiger King's effect, which is like a blanket skill drain. It basically just forced out my opponent's effect to Book of Moon a card, and because that card exists, that's also one of the reasons why I wanted Crimson Fox in the graveyard, just in case he tried to flip. Like, see, if I summon Panther Dancer here and he still had access to his effect, if he used it, I had the Crimson Fox in the graveyard to go ahead and negate that targeting effect, so my Panther Dancer doesn't get flipped face down. So another perfect example why Crimson Fox in the graveyard is just fantastic. So at this point, I go ahead and fuse into my Lunalight Panther Dancer. And Panther Dancer's on the field. Next thing I need to do is just use my normal summon to get my Lunalight Wolf out. So I used my Lunalight Tiger that I just drew into, and I tributed the Kaleido Chick. If I didn't have this Tiger to bring back the Kaleido Chick, easily just would have distributed the Brother of the Firefist Tiger King. It would have been completely fine. So now, you know, my opponent has a 0 defense monster. I'm just going to attack into the Willard first because, you know, 3,000 twice wouldn't have been enough for game. Just chipping away my opponent's life points for now. Panther Dancer, I used her effect before entering the battle phase, allowing her to attack every monster my opponent controls twice each. And Lunalight Wolf coming in clutch in a different way than most people would imagine Lunalight Wolf coming in clutch. Most people would just, you know, try to set up a Leo Dancer or something like that, but this was a really weird situation where my opponent's Willard was actually very annoying to get around. I had like very few outs to the card in my deck. But yeah, it ended up working out completely fine. It took a few turns to set up, but I had a pretty commanding field, so it didn't really matter in the end. I had a few turns to set up, got the wolf out, managed to pierce my opponent. So yeah, this is basically just showing you guys like the versatility of the deck. The deck isn't like, you know, OTK based like a lot of people think it is. It requires thinking, it requires strategy, and you see, even I made some minor misplays with the deck. There's just really weird, bizarre situations like this that you have to kind of take into account when you are building the deck. And things like this won't be common, but when they do show up, you're gonna wish that you were prepared for them, right? But yeah, anyway guys, this video has been going on for quite a bit now, so I'm gonna end it off right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Lunalight content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.